This is cooking in a winter jacket with Jamerrill, right? Alrighty, Jam Fam, guess what we are doing? I know, I am so proud of us. We are doing 50 massive emergency pantry freezer meals on a budget for my family of 10, using as many things as possible from my emergency stockpile in my basement grocery store. You know I love to make freezer meals, and I've been going through what I had on hand, and I was like, this is what I'm inspired to make. So let's go shopping in my basement and get up here and get cooking. And then to the whiteboard, I got the whiteboard ready and all filled out for us. We should get around 50 large family style meals, and all of these portions can equal about 150 or so average size family meals, depending on how you portion it out. So you get to choose your own adventure. But here's my big cooking day. For inspiration, we are doing 30 quarts of homemade pasta sauce tonight. We are doing 14 casseroles, including baked ziti, stuffed shells using those jumbo noodles we got at Sharp Shopper a couple weeks ago. We're going to do some traditional lasagna and heart of palm lasagna with those palmini sheets. These are also keto and gluten-free and low carb and all of those good things. We are doing 40 quarts of bone broth. And this is my longtime beloved 30 quart stock pot. We're bringing my, 40 or 50 quart stock pot that we used to can corn in several years ago. Yes, we did. Well, we used it to boil the corn and blanch it and all those fun adventures. But anyway, we're bringing that up, and we are going to get the chicken carcasses. I have some turkey carcasses, many great things. We are doing, I guess I will now say at least 40 quarts of homemade bone broth. I have been drinking bone broth with every meal, and I'm out of my home canned chicken broth, and I don't have the days to do the canning right now in the month of December 2025. 2026 though, all kinds of good things. And I thought in the meantime, we could still make the broth and I can freeze portions. Also, I want to take about 20 quarts of our homemade bone broth and make a low inflammatory healing soup that's super gentle on the gut. More information coming on that. But anyway, that'll be the bone broth adventure. We are going to do 120 homemade tallow biscuits. And out of that, we're going to take 60 of them and make them into teenage boy approved homemade from scratch biscuits with sausage. We are also going to use several of our cans of our stocked up salmon, and we are going to make 120 salmon cakes. These are low on the food map, low carb, gluten-free, keto, check lots of boxes, dairy-free, and all of those things. And we're going to make a homemade salmon cake sauce to go with those. So let's get shopping in the basement grocery store and get cooking. And here's how things are looking in my food pantry in my basement. These are ignore the ramen noodle label from a few years ago, but those are the jumbo shells that we got at Sharp Shopper a few weeks ago, because a long time ago, I don't know, last time I went to make stuffed shells, I've made them several times for the freezer, but been a bit, and Walmart was out of them. And when I saw these, I was like, oh, we're gonna make stuffed shells. Yes, we are. This is also, let me show you some other, I like heart of palm for our gluten-free and various things we need in life. Adaptations. This is a palmini linguine, which is another nice option. I will show you the lasagna sheets upstairs. And anyway, just something that you can do. You know, we look for alternatives. And I did a few weeks ago, I was almost out of tuna, so I did get some more tuna just to start stocking back up. It's not a lot because we go through a lot of tuna. But anyway, we do have a nice stash of pink salmon, and I can't wait to get those salmon cakes in the freezer. And canning pantry, can't wait to have this all stocked up again one day. We are doing the 30 quarts of sauce, so we won't need 30 home canned quart jars, but I'll probably put about 20 to 24-ish quarts in there. And we are going to use about 7 to 10 pounds of ground beef. We make this up as we go, but I'm going to get that. And I think what I will do, no reason for me to haul these out. I'm making a list, and I'm going to have teenage boys come down here and each get a box For our tallow biscuits, when I did the math earlier, I think we need about a quart and a little bit more of another quart. So we will take that upstairs and then, well, let's make our ingredient pile. And for 10 dozen salmon cakes, we need quite a bit of salmon to go upstairs. And I don't know, it's probably been a year and a half or so since I've done salmon cakes. I like doing salmon cakes and tuna cakes, and I've even done them using canned chicken before. Tonight, we're just getting going with this tonight. That was my goal. I thought we could at least get everything upstairs that we need, do our shopping, and then we can get our sauce going. Now, I have 3 of these organic sauces also left from Sharp Shopper, maybe from the spring. I think we bought a dozen of those, but maybe we'll save those for another time. I'm going to have them get 2 more. I feel like maybe I should set those down. I want to make it easy for my help. my strong teen boy help. I want to be able to go upstairs and say, I have it stacked on the floor, guys. You bring that up. Okay, so that needs 1 more quart. Okay, a few little mysteries happening, not too bad. Okay, doing it. Nice. And we home canned this tomato sauce in August, so good job in December. And we will only have 14 quarts left if I use this 24 in this homemade sauce go. So definitely 50, I think we did 56 quarts or so. That was not a year's worth of homemade tomato sauce for a large family, that's for sure. I know many of you ask me how long different things last, but that's okay because we're using it, right? And we're doing the things. I do have other noodles upstairs, and I see I have some more, like 4 boxes of lasagna noodles down here, but I did bring some upstairs. So I'm just looking for a minute. Spices are upstairs. Okay, well, this is a good pile. I've got my oil upstairs. We need to go get our carcasses. Again, I'm not starting that until the morning, but I'm thinking if I just want to put them overnight, because I don't want, thinking if I want to put them overnight in my refrigerator. I'll probably do that just to get them where I need to be, to make everything a little easier tomorrow. So tonight we'll be doing about an hour and a half, 2 hours of prep. And then tomorrow we're going to have an all-day dedicated massive freezer cooking day, which will be a lot of fun. I'm going to jump in here real quick, friend. Before we keep going, I want to quickly share something I've put together special for Christmas because it ties right into what we're doing and all this big cooking today. If you are wanting to make the holidays feel calmer and more prepared, especially when you're feeding a crowd, I have a Very Merry Jam Fam Christmas bundle for you right now. It's a huge 4-guide bundle with make-ahead holiday meals, freezer cookies, and big batch breakfast, so you're not cooking everything at the last minute. There are all kinds of recipes I've used for years to get through Christmas and many holiday seasons with my sanity intact, which is always my favorite. For a limited time, I'm including my Very Merry Jam Fam Christmas course as a free special bonus, where I walk you through planning, cooking, and so many fun family ideas step by step. There's a bunch of videos in there as a free bonus, all kinds of printables, and all kinds of Jam Fam Christmas fun. The first link will be down in the description below if you want to check it out. It's here to support you, not add pressure. Now let's keep cooking. So here's our pile on the floor that'll go upstairs. We've also been working on organizing all the meal prep containers on a shelf down here for easy access. And I have a box of carrots. I think this was half a bushel. And I want to get these, even separate than this freezer cooking list, but I wanted to get these going in a slow cooker, just with probably some chicken broth, just to have as a nice soft vegetable option. Then we had moved so many of the bones in here. Lots of people get in here for bananas. Okay, doing pretty good. Just checking in on life things, okay? So much broth. I did about 20 quarts of broth about a week ago. Again, I just used, it must not have been 20 quarts. I think it was 16. I used one of my bags of chicken feet to do it, and I've been drinking that. And so now we're just going to put a wide variety. And let me look for my big pot. There it is. Okay, hold on here. Memories. I knew it was here somewhere. Okay, it's a 60 quart. Woo! Oh, I love me. I love past me. I do. So my 60 quart pot, yep, hasn't been used in a good bit. So what I will probably do is just put these bones in here. Have my folks, this is probably a turkey back from last year, have them bring that up. And hey, we're prepping. We'll get that in tonight. So let's see here. Whee! More turkey bones. And well, we're going to go, if we got a 60 quart pot, you know what we're doing. Okay, this is a turkey neck from last year. I also have this year's turkey neck. And what else we got? Just so many chicken carcasses. So I'm going to, and this freezer starts dinging at us. I also have this year's turkey neck from our Thanksgiving turkey. There's another turkey neck. Well, some more. I mean, I won't use all of it. I've got 3 bags of chicken feet and maybe 3 more bags of carcasses. But I probably have enough in this 60 quart stock pot now, plus what I have upstairs. I have our turkey neck and our Thanksgiving turkey carcass. So, excuse me while I get that close. So that's enough to get going there. So I can give clear direction to my helpers. And actually, to cut down on confusion, I'm going to put that box of carrots on there so they can carry that upstairs for us too. And not related, but hey, we're meal prepping. We have these sweet potatoes left from I believe this was a 40-pound box from John Henry. So I'm going to probably throw these in a slow cooker too. Don't mind me just also doing additional meal prep. And I can probably just fit those on top of this carrot box. I think I made up a new word that says in top. But anyway, in the low inflammatory soup that I'm going to do, I just got a diagnosis of a leaky gut. Yay, right? But my fasting insulin is a 6. My HOMA IR, if that means anything to you, is 1.4, and my fasting glucose is 93. And my A1C is, it was 5.8, and then it was 5.7, it's now 5.4. So I've been handling my business as far as reversing prediabetes and reversing insulin resistance. I am now classified as metabolically healthy as far as that goes. So now, for my next healing layer adventure, I get to focus on gut health, which means I need to also go low food map. Yes. And gut healing, like no raw vegetables right now, which is the saddest. All my vegetables need to be soft and steamed, okay? We're doing it though, and we're gonna now heal that. We will be so healed at the end of this. This is my new layer in my healing journey. So that's why I have a new layer going on with steamed or soft. I'm going to call it steamed. It's just going to be carrots in the slow cooker though, okay? Soft carrots, soft sweet potatoes, the bone broth, the low inflammatory soup, all of those meal preps that we're doing, because now we've reversed Jamerrill's insulin resistance and prediabetes, and now we're going to reverse her gut inflammation. Because it just seems like as we wrap up 2025 and we roll into 2026, it seems like a nice new healing goal layer, right? We've checked a lot of boxes. We've healed a lot of things. I'm the girl that had off the charts E. coli in 2021, hospitalized 3 times, and my vitamin D was 7, okay? My vitamin D now, I mean, be impressed, holding strong at 73. So we have done some metabolic health healing. Yes, we have. And now, healing leaky gut, we're going to become an expert in that now, right? Nope. I forgot one more thing. I forgot our ground beef situation. Well, we're actually going to do some sausage and some ground beef. And let me think here. Well, we have this box of 10 pounds from Sharp Shopper, and we have this grass-fed ground beef going on. Just deciding which way I'm going to go. All right, so this is what I decided. I'm doing 5 pounds of ground beef, 5 pounds of sausage, and learning my new universe. This particular sausage is probably not low food map. The new thing, that gets to be my next journey. I get to learn about that. So I personally am probably not able to eat this because the natural flavors, does it have that? Spices, it could have garlic and onion, and I'm looking at a list here beside me. Other things that just may not work well with healing my gut personally. So anyway, I can still, though, like this is gluten-free, I can still make the gluten-free low-carb lasagna with the palmini sheets for my gluten-free folks and traditional lasagna and all of that. I just know I always loop you guys in with what I'm personally eating too. And so some of these items that I prep, I will be able to eat. And some of these preps, my other 5011 household members will be able to eat too. And so I will just set this. And so now I can easily say the pot with the bones and the things on the pot. Yay. Okay, so we got everything upstairs, so we're gonna get some things kicked off now. And since the ground meat is frozen, I'm just going to run some water on it enough so that we can get it out of the packaging, and then we will start cooking that through in the 30-quart stock pot. And then we will get the carcasses and things just packed in the upstairs fridge for tonight. We will get those going in the morning. I don't want to do the chicken broth overnight, and I don't want it to go for too long. So that'll just be a morning thing. And I will at least go, I'll get these. Not included in this cooking, but hey, look, we're gonna cook them. The sweet potatoes and carrots, woo! Get those washed and ready to go for tomorrow. What else? The tallow can sit, everything else, yeah, we've got meat there and we'll be getting that. And here's the carcass of the Thanksgiving turkey. It does have a good bit of meat on it, and that's cool because we will use that, and we have all of the broth from that's in there. And so cool, let's boil it down and make a bunch of broth out of it. And then I'm going to use the meat from this and the meat from our other pieces to be our meat in our healthy soup too. So we'll just probably do a big old pile of meat tonight. So I know I can get the roaster back in the refrigerator. Hey, bundle of chicken feet. Great. And again, I do hope to get some canning going in the future too, but I'd rather put my 2 hours one evening and full dedicated cooking time into getting a bunch of stuff in the freezer this go round. Also this evening, I had some of my guys shred down a whole 10-pound log of provolone cheese from Sharp Shopper, and that is gonna be our cheese in our pasta dishes. It looks like they got 3 big bowls shredded for us. Alrighty, so been doing some other things. Who knows where my little mitts are right now? We will just use a towel. Thought it would be time to break this up a little bit with our meat chopper. So the plan is we're gonna cook the 5 pounds of sausage and 5 pounds of ground beef through. Then we will drain it. Then we will add in our seasonings and let it cook a few more minutes like that. And then we will add in as many quarts as we can of our home canned tomatoes. It'll just be a very simple meat sauce, but hey, look, we freezer cook and prepped, right? We got our sauce done that we're gonna use for our 14 homemade oven meals tomorrow. And then I'm hopeful, I don't know the math breakdown on this once we use the sauce for the casseroles, but I'm hopeful that we'll have potentially a couple gallons that we can freeze in the freezer for upcoming spaghetti sauce adventures. Although I am going away, just how many days am I gone? I'm leaving Friday afternoon, I'll be back Sunday afternoon. I'll be gone for 48 hours. And it probably makes sense, so meal plan with me too, if I make a big thing of spaghetti for everybody while I'm gone for the weekend. So maybe we'll go that way. We'll decide tomorrow once we get those casseroles done. And yes, the casseroles, the lasagna and the stuffed shells and the baked ziti, they could totally use anything they want for the 48 hours that I'm gone. It just would be nice to get those in the freezer for other upcoming adventures and then have some spaghetti ready to go for the weekend. Now, 14 9x13 pans for a household of 10 or so. I say that's about 7 dinners-ish because it would be enough for one night. Sometimes there's an extra portion or so that needs to go out. So 1 9x13, we would need some side items for one night, plus the second 9x13. There might be some portions come out of that, and then whatever's left would be lunch the following day. So choose your own adventure. For an average size family, 14 9x13s would probably be 14 dinners plus portions left for the following day. And I'm saying average size family, like, 4 to 5 or so, right? Okay, this is almost cooked through, so that is good. And I'm going to get and you're seeing the overflowing, the dishes that will be done here pretty soon. Of course, while I'm filming, it's hard to have evening chores going on, but those will happen in about an hour. Let's see, we got Italian seasoning. I know some basil. I might throw a couple bay leaves in there that we'll pull out later. Got to squat down. I don't know. Yeah, you can see me over there. Okay. Basil. Probably. And I should probably just dump some garlic, some minced garlic in there right now while the meat is cooking. That sounds good. Would have been nice to saute that first, but it'll be pretty great. Okay, and had this bowl I was washing that I had the meat in, and then we're gonna quickly wash out that 60-quart pot. that had some soap in it. Okay. It is 8:25. I am ready for my elementary school kid bedtime. So again, I'm hoping to get this sauce done. Then I will let it simmer. And I do have some folks that can then get it in the fridge for me later. And they're really good about making sure that gets done. So that is good. Okay, now let's get this big pot in here. Whoop. Again, it's been a couple years since I've had this one upstairs, but you can ring the gong, right? I like making a whole like oil drum size of bone broth. That's nice. But that is, and I have mentioned, I drink bone broth often, but right now I really need to drink it like every meal on purpose, every day while I heal. Hopefully I can have it healed. I've read like the whole progression. I think total complete healing can take 12 to 18 months. But I believe within 3 to 4 months, like 12 to 16 weeks or so, I should see substantial healing. And 3 to 6 months, I should see different things that are healed. But it's just the next journey. The next layer, that's what I was talking to a friend of mine today, and I'm not feeling overwhelmed or sad in that, oh man, I got to do this thing. Again, just using the word layer, I'm like, oh, now I get to heal this layer. Okay, let's do it. Just rinse off the outside for fun. Okay. Well, pretty good. Pretty great. 60 quarts. I think I got a picture on here of me maybe in 2022, blanching my corn in this. And I'm actually glad to get the sauce, at least the sauce, done tonight, because this is my favorite burner. You know, every stove, you got your favorite burner. That's my favorite burner. And I'd like to do the broth on that, or I could do it on the back one. But anyway, we will let this wait for us for in the morning. And I did add about half a cup of garlic in here. I'm just doing a little organizing so we're ready in the morning. I got out a bunch of we had a couple things of pork panko. We're going to use that in our 10 dozen salmon cakes. 2 are just plain, 2 are garlic and herb, 2 are this sweet and smoky flavor, so that's nice. We like variety. Looks like we got 2 of each. Okay, and Just kind of getting a line up here. And I have some noodles. These are some more gluten-free noodles. If we do spaghetti for the weekend, I will do those for some gluten-free folks too. We have our Great Value ziti representing with our Sharp Shopper noodles. Oh, you know what? I did not get more lasagna noodles. That is good. I got more just Great Value spaghetti noodles, but we will bring up the lasagna noodles from the basement and get those up here too. Perfect. Using up more from the basement grocery store, doing it. Okay, so that was nice and done. Just gonna move some things around here. Drain this meat. Okay, whew. Pretty good. Okay, nice. And I'll get my, okay, we're gonna do the seasonings. I was getting ready to start opening tomato jars, but not quite, almost. Okay, so I'm gonna do 1/4 of a cup of Italian seasoning. Let's see if I can get it pretty close here. Pretty good. There still are Azure standard seasonings. Okay, and then I'm not doing garlic powder because I did minced garlic. Gonna do 4 tablespoons of onion powder. Going to throw in some bay leaves. All right, and then I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of oregano. And then we've got 2 tablespoons of basil. Let's smell some basil. Okay. And then going to do 2 tablespoons of salt. We may need some more. We'll see as we go. And I don't know if I'll be able to really measure this pepper. I will call that 2 tablespoons of pepper, which is what I was going for. Pretty good eyeballing. Okay, and let's see if I don't put seasonings in my eye. That'll be good. And I'll turn this back on for just a few minutes. I'm working to not crush up the bay leaves. Doing okay there. Should have just pitched those in once I put the sauce in. Okay, pretty good. Now I'll work on getting these put up.
Well, good morning. What is this? Quite the plot twist, right? Well, cold outside, morning ice situations. Anyway, I want to get all of those chicken carcasses going. And I just came inside to help somebody with something really quick. And I was like, oh, it's about 7:30. We could go ahead and actually get those going. We'll add other things to them coming up. I'm going to walk maybe 15, 20 more minutes. I like to, me and all my little health things I do, I like to get outside, let natural light be absorbed in my eyes, get my first morning steps in. I've got we got many layers, weighted vest activated. Let's just get these chicken carcasses going and we'll mess with it a little later this morning. Just seems like the thing to do. And that way, I'll already have a win for today. And I like getting my wins when I can. And we will put some ACV in here. We're going to put other things in here. Let me just focus on these bundles, getting them in. We will go from there. I've also been trying to not have my coffee first thing in the morning, which is sad. I already drank a quart glass of water with ACV and some amino acids in there. Well, not used to handling chicken carcasses and having my jacket come down, but I'm not taking all these layers off yet. Okay. Okay, big noise, probably. Well, there's that. Okay. Some of these won't be as loud. It's just turkey carcass from some point in life. That's a whole lot. Chicken carcass looks like. And my family knows when we have anything with bones in it, they just throw the carcasses in a bag, throw them in the freezer. Mom's going to do something with that coming up. And here we are. Guess I could have my water going in here while we're doing this, too. Just removing this little plastic insert. Whew. This is my Aldi turkey that we got for 17 cents a pound. And then we have all of this wonderful thick broth. That never went any further. I had pre-made make-ahead gravy, and we used that with our homemade mashed potatoes on Thanksgiving Day. I thought I would do more gravy with this, just didn't get to it, obviously, but here we are. It will serve its purpose with all this bone broth and soup. Okay, next step, I feel like I can do this right now. So Apple cider vinegar pulls the collagen from the bones and it's supposed to be good all the way around, and I drink it anyway. So anyway, I'm going to do a half a cup of apple cider vinegar in here. It was about half full of bones and carcasses. And then, of course, we added at least 30 quarts of water. So I don't think at the end of this we're going to end up with 60 quarts of bone broth, but this certainly gives us an excellent 60 quart base to start from. Going to do 4 tablespoons of Redmond salt. Okay. I'm going to get out some thyme and rosemary, other seasonings here in a moment. And since I'm all about the anti-inflammatory, I'm going to put some turmeric in there also. So I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of rosemary, 2 tablespoons of thyme, and I'll do a tablespoon of turmeric. If I can get my lids off. This is cooking in a winter jacket with Jamerrill, right? I need my big boat oar to stir this. All the dishes got done last night except for those tomato jars from all of our homemade sauce. I said, hold on that. Or don't worry about staying up and doing that. We will get those. All right. We will definitely need those throughout the day. So I can't find my boat oar quite yet. That's okay. I'm just going to try to stir at the top here the seasonings that we have in, and then go back out and chug-a-lug some more. Apparently I got a few roasted carrots in here with one of those carcasses.
So this 60 quarts of homemade bone broth was a big undertaking. I was so glad to get out this big 60 quart pot. Filled me with all kinds of hearts in my eyes, fulfilling so many hopes and dreams. I forgot I had this pot. I have not used it since 2022, and now that bone broth, healing bone broth, is going to be such an ongoing requirement for my personal healing journey, I need to get back in this homemade bone broth making frame of mind. Yes, in the last couple years, especially since, my whole universe changed. You and I have made homemade beef broth and homemade homemade chicken broth so many times, and I've also canned it. But now I want bone broth as well, just in my freezer, ready to go in easy freezer containers. I don't even want to take the time to can at least this batch. Maybe we'll be doing that coming up this winter, but for now, I need as much bone broth as I can ready to go. I am drinking 1 to 2 quarts a day. I'm definitely drinking a quart most mornings as I'm taking my walk and getting my day going, and many times I'm drinking a second quart later in the afternoon. It's very nourishing for me. I just finished listening to Dr. Axe's book called Eat Dirt, where he heavily promotes bone broth. And again, it's been something in my diet, but not 1 to 2 quarts a day. And I'm just learning it is definitely a good, steady staple to have in my bag of tricks and taking care of myself and healing this body and caring for my one life. That's my full-time job. So let's do this, right? So the homemade bone broth, it's a personal foundational project during all of this massive freezer cooking and this emergency cooking week. And we're also going through and draining the noodles that I'm making ahead. We are going to make baked ziti. We are going to do stuffed shells. We're also going to do baked spaghetti. At this point, I am still telling myself that I'm going to do lasagna and heart of palm lasagna. I can tell you from the future, those don't work out exactly. However, we still end up with about 14 big batch freezer friendly casseroles, and I am super proud of us for that. It is so helpful, including the 30 quarts of homemade pasta sauce that we made for these casseroles. Plus, within all this big batch freezer cooking, my household also has a couple rounds of homemade spaghetti, which is also delicious. Alrighty, so I was brainstorming with one of my guys because he was offering to help me strain the pot, and hey, look, we succeeded. We made a 60-quart pot. I mean, it's about 2 inches from the top, full of homemade chicken bone broth. Woo, woo, still very warm. So, hey, we accomplished that, but then it's a little different straining a 60-quart pot than even the 30-quart pot that we did the homemade sauce with. But anyway, just in talking through it, do you know this about me? It helps me problem solve and figure things out as I speak it out loud. So then in talking it out, I was like, you know what? Could probably just set up a little broth station here with the big colander, one of our 30-quart bowls, and we'll just scoop it. We'll just scoop it that way. I think that'll work pretty well. So we're just gonna get this going. See how it goes. And stick with me. We'll figure it out. This is us figuring it out, okay? It's definitely a nice color. So we want to take half of this, and I want to freeze it in I say individual soup containers. The containers I have are 32 ounce, but I like to have like a whole mason jar full, same amount of size of our quart jars, full of bone broth, and I will have that with my lunch or have 2 cups for lunch and 2 cups with my dinner. As I shared with you yesterday, sorry, I'm just gently grabbing this because obviously it is hot, but it has cooled down a decent amount. You know, on my layers of healing journey, I have been drinking broth, but now on this new layer I'm adding in, I will be having 4 to 8 cups a day, I believe. So I am not making too much, that's for sure. And that's why, again, I'm not even going to give a day to running the canners right now. I'm just going to leave some in my fridge and freeze the other portions, and I will be rolling through this very quickly. Come back and see, watch and see, within a few weeks. Okay, so don't have all my workflows set up. I will set that pot there for a moment. And again, we're making this up as we go. So, yay, raining broth. And I do want to, let's see here. I want to pick the meat out for the soup. I'm just seeing if that'll sit and agree with me for a minute. Yeah. I just need to get another container to dump that into. Hold on, we shall. Crash bang. Okay, so, well, dropped that in there, huh? Didn't spill any out. Just how good of a workflow can we get with a 60-quart pot full of broth? We're inventing this. We're inventing this as we go. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't let this broth go more than 6 hours or so. I have learned about and learned more from my friend Katie over on For the Love of Leftovers about just the collagen breaking down.
So, again, thinking workflows. This is full. Now what? Now what do we do? Well, problem solving. We'll figure it out. Stick with me, we'll figure it out. Well, so yeah, can't hold the strainer over that anymore. I can pick that up though and move it. We'll just get a couple giant bowls full of broth. Does that sound okay? Then we're gonna end up with some smaller stock pots. I have my 20 quart. My 30 quart has sauce. It's like a Jamerrill math problem, right? If you, let's see, I don't want to put my sleeve in that. Okay, we're good. This is fine. Hold on, you all have me laughing. You have me laughing. Boy, that broth looks good though. I also feel like I should taste test that. Hold on, let's get another 30 quart bowl. Everything's fine. I mean, good life problems. Oh gee, I have a 60 quart pot full of delicious bone broth. What will I do? We can handle these problems, right? Okay, here we go again. And we're not, like you know, we're not going to end up with 60 quarts of broth because there are, cooked down carcasses in here too. Oh, but it smells so good. This might be the most beautiful chicken broth I have ever done. Okay. Let's see. Also, octopus arms would come in handy right now. Now we're going to start hitting a lot of the carcasses. It's always weird how the chicken legs, you know, the little toes, the little claws wave. I always joke in my head like, yeah, this looks like a horror movie. Okay. Random carrot. These are good life problems. Okay, I will put this over here. Okay. Raining broth, right? Okay. And I think I can go. These just sit in there a little bit. Probably do a few more pots in there. Let's go fishing. Okay. But this next bowl is going to be really, really, really serious here. All right, so I have 4 of these 30 quart bowls, but I have one empty one left. You gonna be okay? You good? Okay, I'm gonna move this one over. Don't laugh at me. We gotta be serious while we carry this. Okay, pretty good. Pretty good. Now, this one. I'm talking us through this. Okay. This is where we're going to get into more of the carcasses. Well, I guess I'm, again, just like fishing, I'm just going to pull up what I can get. And I don't know if that's exactly like fishing, haha. Get in there, come on, random things. I do feel like I need my washcloth. One got all kinds of science projects in it. If I can encourage some pieces to get in there. Come on. You're all going eventually. So here's what we've got in our pot. Here's our bowl for the moment. Okay, I mean, getting through it, right? Pretty good. Like I say, we're gonna pick all the meat off that we can. Okay. Back down in there for the moment. Okay, we're going again. I don't know, is this the point where I bring my step stool over? Okay. I mean, I'm not quite to the point where I can just use this, but maybe I can scoop in some more. The pot and pot scooping method. Okay. Alrighty. Come to my scooping party. This has very little broth in it. Okay. I do think I can just start scooping some in. Why not? So here's how things are looking in the pot. Ooh, steamed up my camera there, didn't I? Okay, we are scraping the bottom of the kettle now. So that is fun. I almost think I could just pick it up and pour it in. Probably can at this point. Okay. I mean, there's just not, bottom's still a little warm. I mean, we're gonna find out, right? It's not that heavy, it's just awkward. Y'all with me? Yeah, you are. You can see in the pot before I can. Okay, yeah, there's still some little pieces in there. Come on out. Pretty good. Okay. Good. Down. Did it. Stretching our wrist. Pretty good. Okay. Now, we'll rain broth. It's the stuff dreams are made of, right? Oh, I know something random to tell you all. In one of my recent videos, I showed you, I'll point to it with my nose over there, my mama chicken from my childhood, and I said now it would be perfect if we can find the old Avon salt and pepper egg shakers. My mom does have those. Several of you have sent me listings or told me you have them or let me know where to get them or you want to send them to me. And so we have them. We have the original. They're not up here yet. I'll show them to you when they are. But, okay, so we have 3 30-quart bowls. Each is a little more than halfway full. We'll say half full. So probably approximately 45 quarts of broth is what this is looking like to me. I'm thinking I could, I'm not doing a fine strain on it because it's going to be broth, it's going to be soup. I don't think I have like any little bone pieces that would have come through that colander there. I do have some finer strainers. I think we're okay eyeballing it. I also feel like I should drink some of this. Hold on. We definitely need to go cup shopping. It's a high cup breaking season also because sorry, there's a delivery. I'm like, I see lights, what's happening? But anyway, lots of hot chocolate going down. I'm just helping myself here. Okay. It's very good. Could use more salt. Everything else is very good. And I could just do a teaspoon of salt. I don't even know if it needs that much. I'll probably do 1 to 2 more tablespoons. If I have, let's do math, 45 quarts. Of course, when I started this, I thought my 60-quart stock pot was a 40-quart because I haven't used it since 2022, like we know. So I was hoping to end up with maybe 30 quarts of broth from my 40-quart once we take the bones and stuff out. So if I have 45-ish quarts, I'm ahead on broth. Look at this life. I like it. So I have my 20-quart stock pot that's soaking. This goose pot is a 15 to 16 quart. I want a lot of soup. I might use this 60 quart to do our soup in, and that should be
25-ish quarts. I like it. I like this math. Okay, very good. So I'm going to finish this now. Alrighty, so I guess my biggest workflow holdup, I'm deciding which pot. Okay, so I've gone back and forth thinking through what pot I want to use. Yes, I could use a 60 quart. We wouldn't use it all the way. Obviously, it's hard to get my arms in and out. I think I'm going to use two separate. Stick with me. I got an idea. I think I'm going to use my 20 quart pot and my 16 quart. I think, well, and this could even be here. Again, we're just doing workflow setup. This pot is so fun and it's been super useful. Let me just move it out of the way for a minute. And we got our spoon. Yes, I'll do the 20 and the 16. Of course, yesterday I was thinking I was going to put some of my fresh carrots in there. Maybe even end up with some sweet potatoes. Hadn't even got to that. So that's okay though. I had folks that really like that Montreal steak seasoning. Random fact. Anyway, I think we will go back downstairs to the grocery store in my basement, right? And we will get just some already, like, wherever the cans came from. Great Value, Food Lion. Anyway, just regular old grocery store bought canned green beans and carrots. We'll add those in. We're going to have a lot of chicken. All vegetables that are low food map vegetables for what I need. Okay, I think I am kind of picked up here. That's just staining, but this whole pot looks like it needs washed. So surprise, not too bad, but a little surprise there. Okay, this one is ready. We will finish washing the red one in a moment, and I'm just going to get to chicken picking some. I just throw bones in there in pieces. This is where I will put an audiobook on and listen to it, set a timer, just pick some things down. Probably take me 15 minutes or so. I'm listening to, here we go, nice little chicken foot there. I'm listening to a John Axe book. I'm pretty sure his name's John, Dr. Axe. I've seen him on Instagram. I've seen his name forever. I've never actually listened to any of his books. So I'm listening to his book called Eat Dirt, all about gut health and healing leaky gut. Surprise, surprise. You've got to hear all about my insulin resistance and reversing prediabetes literature I've been consuming for 2 years now, and now you get to hear the next layer with me. So far that's been a very interesting book, trying to not put my chicken back over with my bones. And I could also add some rice to this. I might individually do that on different days when I eat it. And of course, this is an option for anyone in my household, but I am particularly making it with my special dietary needs in mind. Okay, we got a turkey neck to pick down. I don't mind the bigger, longer pieces. I know it would be nice to chop it all. Maybe we will. We just need to have forward movement. That's how we get things done. Always a science project, just like on Turkey and chicken butchering day. So I'm either going to strain this all and just leave the meat in big chunks, or we will dump it on a cutting board and cut it. Wishbone. It is a fun project to do with kids, to soak the bones in vinegar. I forget the ratio, but one of my guys in particular, when he was little, he had this little science book, and it had us soak, I think it was so much water, so much vinegar, and then after so many days, the bones would bend. Had some fun little science with that. Okay, so just going to chop this poultry that we just pulled off the bones. This will do. This will do. Okay, gonna move this to the table. And we're just gonna chop this up. It's not really a ton of meat, but we still salvage some. So some is better than none, right? And I will probably, and now I'm thinking maybe I am just doing one pot. I don't know. It's getting close to my elementary school child bedtime for my 46-year-old self. So, little known fact, we also had a birthday party in the middle of today. So I've gotten, like, we got the noodles prepped, and those are down in a refrigerator. Our sauce is still down there. I'm going to get this soup going. We do need to go back down and get our canned goods. And then I can probably also, I mean, it's an accomplishment, get the broth that we don't use in the sauce. Maybe we can get that in freezer containers and just call today good. Instead of feeling bad about all that I thought I would get done, hey, we got some stuff done, right? It's not every day that you process and strain a 60-quart stock pot. So I know tomorrow I will say, okay, progress, still progress forward. So with these big cooking times, when I have my big list, what is helpful is for me to know that I'm just going to work in little blocks over a couple days. And that is just how it's going to go, how we're going to get it done. And tomorrow is another day, and it might even go into some time blocks the following day. Not sure, but stick with me and we're going to find out, right? I'm just chopping this down a little bit. Would also make great chicken salad. I think I can keep this on this one cutting board. Cutting it close, haha. Do a few more smaller piles. And it was almost 30 minutes of chicken picking the meat bits out of that big pot.
But this looks like a couple pounds worth here. Okay. Pretty good. Yeah, this is only looking like, though, that it's going to be one stock pot of soup. That's what I'm tiptoeing around about. I'll show you. So that's the meat that we got. So I'm just thinking that'll be a good amount of meat for this 20-quart stock pot. I'm not going to also do the 16-quart one. I will just end up with more chicken bone broth in containers, and that is fantastic too. That's my goal. All right, I do have a big can of green beans up here. And again, I am making this based on my preferences. And I'm going to be spending a lot of time eating soups like this over the coming months. Like I say, my idea of a good time will be whether I'm going to add a little rice to the individual servings or not. But I'm going to drain this can of green beans because I want to get what soft vegetables I can in here, and then we'll top it off with more broth. But you could also use the liquid from the cans. I've done that many times over the years with my frugal cooking. Okay. Come on, can opener. We believe in you. Okay. Get in there, green beans. This is your destiny. I have eaten a lot of green beans in this past week. I've got to get used to replacing my celery. Oh, so sad. Okay. I can have cooked celery. Okay, so we're going to go for some carrots. Go get some of those. Okay, let's see. Got some carrots. Of course, we're not organized by each food type, but got more smaller cans of green beans here. So if we can find a couple cans of carrots. Another one right in front of me. Can't do a lot of beans right now. There's another can of carrots. And another. So this is good. Gonna get some carrots in there. Making broth in the 60-quart stock pot, it gives me an abundant supply. It's deeply nourishing. It's collagen rich, which I make sure that collagen does not break down by not cooking it for too long. In the past, I have cooked my chicken broth for way too long, and my friend Katie Chase from For the Love of Leftovers has just taught me broth making tips and tricks, and basically not letting my chicken broth go for too long. So 4 to 6 hours is my goal, and this broth is perfect for soups, for casseroles, for skillet meals, and for all kinds of Trim Healthy Mama friendly recipes.
Now, this batch relied completely on poultry bones and parts that I have saved in my freezer, and it's a perfect example of rotating and cooking from my emergency pantry staples and my freezer storage. So my goal is we're going to end up with about 30 1-quart containers of rich organic chicken bone broth, and then I'm hopeful to have about 20 quarts or so that I can make a low inflammation healing soup as well. So for the 60-quart stock pot of the bone broth, I used the full turkey carcass that was left from Thanksgiving. I used 2 turkey necks from the freezer, I believe one from this year and then one from last year. I used 2 chicken carcasses, and I used 2 packs of chicken feet from J&L Green Farm. Chicken feet are fantastic for making bone broth, and then a few bags of other random poultry bones. Now, this did not deplete my whole chicken broth stash. I do have, I believe, 2 to 3 more bags of organic chicken feet, again from J&L Green Farm here locally. And then I believe I have a few more gallon bags of random carcasses and such. And from the future, I can say I currently have 2 Costco chickens in my roaster oven, and I will have those carcasses. So I just need to continue to make chicken and make broth, and we will stay in this 60-quart stock pot of bone broth business. I'm also seasoning wise, I'm putting in some sea salt, some bay leaves, some turmeric, also some apple cider vinegar. And I'm additionally filling my pot with water, leaving about 2 inches or so below the rim. And with my broth, I let it simmer gently for about 4 to 6 hours on a medium heat, not boiling, and I just reduced it down to low. This shorter simmer preserves the collagen, the gel structures, the bright golden color, and the clean flavor, and that's what I was looking for. Now, broth freezes beautifully. You can use it in many big batch soups and stews. You can use it in your casserole recipes, in your skillet meals, in your oven meals, in Trim Healthy Mama recipe soups, also keto and low carb soups and gravies, anything for the Instant Pot and the slow cooker. It's also fantastic to use for rice and quinoa and also pasta. And it's great to have in your emergency pantry rotation meals as well. Some other ideas is you can use it with mashed cauliflower. You can also use it to make chicken noodle soup and chicken and rice soup. And Jam Fam, I just want to pause here for a second because if you're watching this thinking, I want more meals like this ready in my freezer, I built something specifically for that kind of cooking just for you. My Very Merry Jam Fam Christmas Bundle is a 4-guide collection. It's got big batch, make-ahead recipes, meals, cookies, breakfast, and it's designed for feeding a lot of people. Maybe you're not feeding 10 people all day, every day, but maybe you have some holiday events and other special occasions coming up where you're going to be feeding more and you need big batch recipes. These aren't one-time recipes. They're the kind of food that you can use for holidays, family gathering, hosting, or just everyday life when your house is full. When you grab the bundle, you also get access to a Very Merry Jam Fam Christmas course that's a free special bonus for a limited time. And in my special Jam Fam Christmas course, I walk you through cooking, planning, organizing food for big occasions in a really practical, doable way. Everything is linked in the description below if you want to check it out. All right, so we have 30 quarts of homemade chicken bone broth. Very, very exciting. And now we're going to get our separate soup in containers. Also, we end up with a 20-quart batch of just what I'm calling a low inflammation healing soup. And this is based on my personal eating needs right now in working in reducing my intestinal inflammation. I have been advised to do steamed vegetables, not a lot of raw vegetables right now. Pretty much, I'm not doing any raw vegetables. Raw vegetables did not cause my inflammation, but they are not helping my gut heal during this time. Again, the root cause in my leaky gut and even my stage 4 adrenal fatigue is the chronic stress that I've been under, root cause of stress for so many health ailments. And again, yay, drop the confetti. I have worked slowly and gently over time to reverse my insulin resistance and reverse prediabetes and lower my A1C and lower my fasting glucose levels and lower my fasting insulin levels. And now, as I like to say, we are working on this next layer of healing. So for me to also have 20 quarts of a gentle, low inflammation soup in my freezer as another option. This soup, of course, has our chicken bone broth. It has some soft carrots, some green beans, and also shredded chicken. And I'm using very simple seasonings in this. It is just some Redmond salt, a little bit of black pepper, also some turmeric. Not adding a lot of other things to this. The ingredients are mild and soothing and easy for me to digest. Now, there's also additional vegetables that you can use to expand this soup or to customize it. You can use zucchini slices or cubes, spinach or kale, also celery and cauliflower, cabbage, mushrooms, turnips, radishes, and these are low-carb potato substitutes, the turnips and the radishes as well. It's all based on what you would need for your bio-individual needs, but these are all items that I have frozen in soups, and it works out wonderfully. This is a nourishing lunch for busy homeschool days. It's a soothing meal during sickness recovery. Again, it can be a base for adding additional vegetables and protein, and it's also a gentle reset meal for busy days. And I just put it in the refrigerator frozen, let it defrost. A lot of things I end up microwaving, which I know not everybody uses the microwave. You can also reheat it on a pot on the stove. Then we got 20 quarts of our soup. I've got a giant bowl of it because I'm like, I'm going to eat some of this now. One of my guys just said, was this all the chickens we've been sticking in the freezer? And I'm like, well, I think we got a few more left. But overall, good use of those chickens and the turkey necks that we have been saving up. So again, that's 30 quarts of bone broth and 20 quarts of a bone broth soup. Go us. We got 30 quarts. Yay. And so freezing the sweet potatoes, I know, it's just, why do it? Well, why not? There are so many times I want sweet potatoes, and I know you see a whole lot of me throwing sweet potatoes under chicken and in slow cookers around here. But there's times I would like to have a sweet potato with my lunch, and I don't have any prepped. Yes, maybe 4 or 5 times a month they are prepped, but there's definitely times where they are not. And they are one of my main whole food carb sources that I love and so many other family members in my house love. And so I just thought, you know what? This will be a great time to take some extra sweet potatoes, go ahead and peel them out of the skins, get them cooked through so they're soft, put them in a container in the freezer, and they've already from the future have been serving their purpose, because when I go through and figure out, okay, what am I having for lunch tomorrow or for the next 2 days, I can get 1 or 2 containers of frozen sweet potatoes,
put them in my refrigerator, and then once they're defrosted, I can just heat them through with whatever cooking fat I'm going to add to them. Of course, bacon grease makes everything better, and we definitely need to process some more pork fat and get some more lard around here. But even avocado oil, that's a wonderful choice in my world, and they heat through perfectly. And it's one of those things, kind of like, why freeze a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? People have never understood why I have done that. Well, from all my years of getting so many kids out the door to activities and homeschool field trips and homeschool group and so many life scenarios, to take 12 or 14 frozen peanut butter and jelly sandwiches from the freezer, put them in the refrigerator, and the next day grab and go, add some fruit, add some crackers, add some pretzels, add whatever random grab and go side items you have. Mark down granola bars from Sharp Shopper, yes. And the sandwiches are ready. It cuts down on the mess. It's all done at one time. Same thing with prep and sweet potatoes. It would also be similar to, and man, I wish we would have done this, but maybe on the next big batch freezer cooking project days. You can do the same with rice. You can pre-cook your rice. You can have it frozen in various individual size containers, and that's a perfect healthy side option ready to go. So baked ziti is such a wonderful thing to make ahead and have in the freezer, and it's a crowd pleaser. Add that and some veggies or some fruit or some bread, some sourdough, and you have a fantastic meal. So this massive large family baked ziti, we get 5 pans for the freezer, and it was a perfect way to help use up our 30 quarts of homemade spaghetti sauce. And we're also using layers of our shredded cheese that we bought in bulk. I bought a big, like 12-pound roll of provolone from Sharp Shopper, and my teen guys shredded that up for us. These baked zitis are perfect for busy weeknights, for feeding a crowd, for bringing a meal to a friend, for potlucks, for family gathering. Perfect thing to stock in your freezers ahead of time, and I've used everything that I had already from my pantry stockpile. So I just used some pasta that we cooked ahead and drained. I used sauce from our large make ahead big batch spaghetti meat sauce that we made. And then for the cheese mixture, you can use ricotta, you can use cottage cheese, also shredded mozzarella, shredded provolone. I've used the Fiesta blend cheese too. It's whatever I have on hand. You can add some Parmesan on top now, or some Parmesan for serving whenever you bake it up. You can also add Italian seasoning to your cheese layer for extra flavor. And I just get into an assembly line with my pans, and I have my teens yet again wrap each of the 9x13 casseroles, and I think we got some 10x15s in there also, with foil, and then also with our plastic wrap. And how I do when we go to bake these, I like to look in my freezers and plan my meals for sometimes a week at a time. I will go through my freezers and I will get out 2 to 3 of our make ahead freezer meals and maybe 2 to 3 different meat options. And as the days are rolling by, I already have a plan in the bottom of my refrigerator. Now, if it's, we'll say, 2 frozen chickens from Costco and maybe a pork loin, and then we'll have 3 different casserole options, I will put my meats that are frozen on a separate sheet pan to defrost, and I will usually add other root vegetables with that. This also gives me the option, especially since I'm consuming so many green beans right now, to prepare whatever side items we need in the slow cooker. And so with my green beans, I will open my cans and drain them. Also use some chicken broth, put a little seasonings in there, and that is a fantastic side item as well. We have a lot of broccoli fans here, and we do have a decent amount of frozen broccoli. And broccoli is one of those side items at my house that everybody loves. And so whenever I do it, there's usually not leftovers, but that's something that if the main course is done, doing broccoli fresh that evening or a salad or other side items is something very quick to throw together. I am so excited also to finally get to massive stuffed shells. I feel like it's been a few years since we've made stuffed shells. I know you and I together have made stuffed shells many times over this past decade that I've been doing massive freezer cooking on YouTube, and I'm glad to get back to it again. We got the shells at Sharp Shopper probably now 8 weeks ago or so, and we get 4 big batch pans ready of massive stuffed shells for the freezer together during this cooking time. We're using, again, ingredients I already had on hand. We're using some of the homemade spaghetti meat sauce that we made 30 quarts of, and we get 4 9x13 pans of these stuffed shells for the freezer. Now, I will say, if you have an extra box of stuffed shells, it's nice to cook some extra because these shells are delicate and some of them can break, okay? If you leave it to me to break some shells, we use ricotta cheese. You can also use cottage cheese, again, shredded mozzarella or provolone, a couple eggs, also Italian seasoning, garlic powder, and parsley. And you just adjust the amounts to taste based on what's available in your pantry and your family's preferences. Again, all of these recipes, they'll either be my older recipes or they will be updated recipes. They will be linked in the description below. And so we cook our stuffed shell noodles. We also prepare the cheese filling, again with ricotta, cottage cheese, shredded cheese, eggs, and our seasonings. We mix all of those until they're smooth and thick. And then we go through the process of spooning in the cheese filling into each one of these shells. I spray the pans and then I fill each shell. And so this is a little bit more tedious recipe, but it's always, it's a fun way to have lasagna a different way, basically, right? I like doing the recipes where, like baked spaghetti that we're also going to do, we mix it all together and top it with cheese. Stuffed shells is just another fun variety. And we wrap these for the freezer. Now, again, these will be taken out to defrost ahead of time, and we do cook them, we bake them for about 45 minutes at about 375 degrees. Now, some side dish ideas for stuffed shells, of course, garlic breadsticks, Texas toast. You could have a mixed green salad, a Caesar salad, of course, roasted broccoli or cauliflower. You can do vegetable sides like sauteed zucchini, green beans, again, another favorite. You could do some oven roasted asparagus and roasted vegetable variety. Now, stuffed shells, of course, are not low carb in and of themselves, but if you have family members that enjoy stuffed shells, there's also some low carb, keto, and trim healthy mama-ish eater options that you can have to still make it a family meal. So, of course, someone who is eating more low carb, you can have your roasted broccoli, your cauliflower, or your cabbage with the spaghetti sauce on top. You can do zucchini noodles that are sauteed in butter. I love doing a spaghetti squash in the slow cooker or oven. And these are all things, and even sweet potatoes I've done and put spaghetti sauce on top. So there are different variations that you can do if you have specific eating needs. That means, well, you're not having stuffed shells for whatever reason. There are other options available. And I know you all are going to hear and see me eating my dairy-free, gluten-free, sugar-free, low food map, vegan yogurt. So many yogurt bowls are going down. Still from the future, I'm having this yogurt usually twice a day. It's just something that is working for me, and I don't mind eating the same thing that is working. And when I get tired of having this yogurt once or twice a day, I might take a break from it for a little bit. I'll have times where I have a break from some dark chocolate and some almond butter. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. Let's eat that. So during this season of my particular bio-individual healing journey, I've developed a simple and nourishing meal. I have it in the morning pretty much, and then I might have it again in the afternoon. So in the morning, for weeks now, from the future, I've been having a quart of chicken broth, and then I have this gut healing yogurt bowl. And this yogurt bowl is designed to calm my digestive system, support my fiber intake, which I'm super into fiber intake right now, steady energy, and to nourish and be gentle. And I like all of those things. The yogurt bowl uses ingredients that I can find at my local small town Walmart. It comes together in minutes and it stores beautifully. What I've been doing is I've taken this container of yogurt, divided it in half, and that basically gives me 2 servings. And I've also had times where I divide it into fourths because there's 4 servings in one of these containers. And I mix it up ahead of time so it's ready to go. And so, as a general rule, we'll say what I'm doing is I'm putting in a tablespoon of chia seeds, a tablespoon of ground flaxseed. If I'm using Trim Healthy Mama brand, it's a scoop of their collagen. The Vital Proteins collagen I also have is 4 tablespoons needed per serving. I'm putting stevia in or monk fruit. Also, when I go to eat it, I might put in a tablespoon of sugar-free almond butter and also some of those Lily's no sugar baking chips. Kind of choose my own adventure with that. And you can add whatever you like. You can also add fruit. You might have other needs and you just adjust your needs accordingly. Now, this is unsweetened coconut yogurt again, so that makes it dairy-free and gluten-free. And there's a lot of gut healing benefits to unsweetened coconut yogurt. If you can't have dairy, which I'm trying to not have right now, this is an option.
Alrighty, Jam Fam, I am back with 2 big boxes of eggs. We have a whole basket of salmon cakes, and we have a wide variety of pork panko. So we are doing our big batch salmon cake extravaganza evening here, and then I hope to end sensibly and get a nice gentle walk and a nice gentle evening run and come back tomorrow and keep on trucking, right? And so we are going to use my Hobart mixer tonight. Aren't you proud? Just wanted to give it a wash out. And we are going to use this to mix our salmon cake mixture. Why not? You know I love to dump things in bowls and use my hand mixer too. But I want to get back to using my mixers on the counter. Seems like a good enough time to start, right? We used the KitchenAid yesterday when we did all those pasta dishes. And this salmon cake batch should be big enough that we're just going to use the Hobart as well. Maybe, now I'm like, oh, I could get both mixers going. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. So this is, I think this might be a 12 quart, and then my friend who found it for me, she has a 10 quart. I think that's right. I think. Alrighty, now, no, my dough hook is still stuck on this Hobart. Okay. Just like, no, I have not emailed back Z-Line the pictures they want from my stove, okay? But I have 3 family members going to 3 back-to-back appointments tomorrow, and I have another family member getting a root canal the next day, and we got our school done today, and I had some appointments today myself and a huge appointment yesterday, And yes, sometimes the comments are, Jamerrill, why don't you quit running and get all this other stuff done? Hey, hot dog, you know what? My running and walking are non-negotiable because that helps all the other things happen. So we're going to be compassionate and graceful with me, grace-filled with me. Compassionate, yes, compassionate for sure. The fact that this dough hook has been stuck on this mixer for a year, it's okay. I'm using it, right? And my one good friend, my Hobart friend who found this one for me again, she told me, take a mallet to it. Have I done it yet? No. Will I? Maybe. Whoop. Let me see if I can get my bowl seated again. I have not used this since last winter when we were doing our, did a big sourdough run. Why would this be? Oh, I'm not in my little hole back there. Hold on, technical difficulties, but we'll get it. Whew, so we're gonna get our salmon station ready. We got our tallow for our biscuits still. But I got this mixer November-ish 2024. And we have used it probably half a dozen times. And I'm proud of us. I wanted to use it more, but I wanted to do a great many things. So that's okay. I haven't made sourdough, I don't think since last winter either. And you know, over the past couple years, we've had quite a bit of nice sourdough, big batch cooking times. And I'm proud of us for getting anything done. So I have the recipe for my salmon cakes over on the blog. And with that homemade salmon cake recipe, I used old-fashioned oats as a binder like I used to do a whole lot with my meatloaf. Still perfectly good and fine. I just really like using pork panko these days if I can. So I'm going to switch out the old-fashioned oats for the pork panko. We're still going to do the eggs. Depending on the batch, we'll add some other seasonings. These are already Italian herb. I think we'll be fine. We'll be fine. And we also have, well, we've got some different flavor variations. So it'll also be good to use our pork panko up and have a good crack at getting salmon cakes homemade and in the freezer. And I will make these as sheet pan meals and probably do roasted potatoes and other root vegetables with them. Okay, so got my batch math worked out a little bit. So I'm doing basically 2 batches of my blog recipe, which is 6 cans of salmon going in the Hobart first. Sorry, my phone screen just dimmed on me and I had it off low battery mode. There you go, stay on there. Okay, let me go get a tool. Now, it has honestly been a little bit since I have opened a can of salmon. I think we haven't made tuna cakes, well, probably in 2 years or so. Woo, so yes, I have to drain it. Okay, again, I'm just like, what's in a can of salmon? I know there's bones. And we've had many discussions over the years on, I know some of you crunch the bones up and use them, cook them just fine. Several of you shared memories with me of when you were growing up and your mom would use the salmon with the bones. And I don't know, some of the brands have it or not. I know my cats will be happy. And the little bones usually just get crunched up too. I had a friend share with me that they were trying to save money on salmon. They were buying the salmon packets, and they bought a can of salmon instead, and they were not expecting the bones. That was a new experience for them, and it was a new experience for me when I started buying canned salmon about 10 years ago now. So that's just a little something I'll need to check. Okay, so we'll just do this can by can. I mean, we're asking a lot, you know, dumping out this salmon on a flimsy plate on top of a basket full of cans, but it's working out pretty okay. I think I just might start putting the bones directly in a can. We only need one more after this. And I have some soup recipes that have come highly requested by some of my gluten-free folks that I think we will do on our next big freezer cooking days once we finish this one. When I work towards finishing one, I start making my list of things to cook on the next one. So they have requested tomato soup, and they also love my potato soup. So potato and tomato. And I was going to also run through with them how to make it so they know. And then I was going to make some big batches in a video for us. And I thought you all might like doing some big batches of tomato soup and potato soup. And I know there's many more things we can make. So you know what is in my downstairs emergency pantry too. So you can give me some more ideas in the comments of this video. And I do have a lot of make-ahead Christmas recipes and things I want to do for Christmas coming up. Okay, this will be our last one. Then we will do our eggs. Sorry, if I don't let it unfold just right, then I miss the little bone line there. And then I get to dig for bones. I think we're pretty good on this one now. Of course, I'm leaving the skin and all those good things on. Okay, so there's 6 cans. Now, let me get myself, just dedicate a towel to this salmon. One of my younger guys was in here finishing something up, and he was like, "What is that smell?" And I said, "Oh, that's the salmon." So that is okay, though. So now it's going to be an egg cracking party. And I could go ahead and bake these and then freeze them. And maybe we'll do some that way. But I had planned to just flash freeze them. I've done them that way before too. And then I cook them on a sheet pan. The baking before is nice because you could microwave them and such. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got talking and lost count of my eggs. I got 7, 8. Nine, 10. And again, we're going to use 2 dozen eggs. And eggs are cheap at the moment, so that is nice. I'm buying 2 60-count boxes often. And I like to have up to 4. I've had up to 6 60-count boxes before, but we can roll through a box a day some days. We go through a lot of eggs. And someone was asking me the other day about raising chickens. And yeah, we have raised decades worth of chickens in the past. And I would definitely like to get back into chickens in the future. But I know you're proud of me for being sensible. I'm not doing chickens right now. And that is okay. So I need to get another egg box open. I'm going to just quickly clean up my salmon here for the moment. And then
while this salmon is mixing, maybe our little assembly line is we'll work on getting some other loads of salmon going, like in some separate bowls maybe. Okay. I know I should not really be sawing this with a butter knife, but I had one pair of kitchen scissors today, one pair left, and they have disappeared by this evening. So, it happens. We'll get this next box over here to fulfill its destiny. Alrighty, so I'm gonna do 3 teaspoons of salt, which would be a tablespoon. And then I'm gonna do about 2 teaspoons of black pepper. And I'm going to do 4 cups of my pork panko. Alrighty, so one of these containers is about 3 cups. So we're going to start with this, and I'll probably add in another cup from the other container. Okay, so flip it on. Let's see if it still remembers me. Yes? Nice. We might have been able to do a ×4 batch in here. Salmon cakes are another delicious, healthy, versatile dinner item that, again, you and I have made so many times over the years. We've had full discussions about the bones, and we have used several different binders. Many times I have used old-fashioned oats because that is a binder I learned about from the Trim Healthy Mama friends many, many years ago. Also, in recent years, I have discovered this fantastic pork panko, which is pretty much, it looks like pork rinds grind up very fine. So it's perfect for things like salmon cakes and tuna cakes and chicken cakes and meatloaf and meatballs. And I have a nice variety of the pork panko that we need to work on using up. So let's use it for these 7 dozen homemade salmon cakes. Again, these are keto, these are low carb, these are gluten-free, these are sugar-free, these are dairy-free. And in the Trim Healthy Mama world, these would be a Trim Healthy Mama S meal. And we are using canned salmon from my emergency pantry shelves, plus very basic, simple, staple ingredients. These patties freeze beautifully, they reheat quickly, and they make a perfect high-protein meals, honestly, for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Now, if I had my other oven going, I very well may have, I'm just rotating a lot in all this big batch cooking. And have I gotten to email back Z-line? No, not at all, but focus, talk about the salmon cakes, right? We'll get back to that oven. Still, during this cooking time, I only have my one single oven going and just spinning different projects in my head. I thought, okay, I'm not going to cook through these salmon cakes, which that's a very nice option to do that because then you can defrost them and you can microwave them. These salmon cakes, I am prepping, I am flash freezing, and then I will need to still bake them through in my oven. However, I can do a dozen, 2 dozen at a time and prep upcoming lunches and such that way. Have a nice dinner and then have a few lunch servings left. And that is my plan during this big cooking time. Now, I do make these big batch salmon cakes using the 12-quart commercial Hobart mixer that I got on Facebook Marketplace. I'm able to get in many cans of salmon into the mixing bowl at once. We mix in eggs and seasonings and our binder. And I'm just still using the dough hook for everything. I still don't have this dough hook off.
I mean, I have problems, but I'm also doing pretty okay, right? That's what we do. And I just thought this is another great way to get using my muscles again, using this commercial mixer for all the things that I can. So I drain the canned salmon into a large bowl. I pull the bones out. Now, many of you over the years have shared that your moms would crush up the bones and you would use them in the patties or whatever she was using the canned salmon for extra calcium and nutrients, and that's another option. I just like, the science of pulling the bones out. You can also use a regular 6-quart KitchenAid mixer, and many times I have just drained my salmon, pulled the bones, and dumped all the ingredients in one of my big mixing bowls, mixed it with my hands or mixed it with a big wooden spoon, and then roll right into making the patties. That's also perfectly fine and acceptable. Now these salmon cakes they're great over sauteed cabbage. I have a thing for cabbage. They're fantastic with cauliflower rice. You can also eat them over zucchini noodles or with other roasted green veggies. You can have a side salad with a delicious dressing. Also, spaghetti squash. These are gluten-free and dairy-free, so you can pair them with gluten-free noodles. You could also serve with mashed potatoes or roasted sweet potatoes. You can add them to rice bowls and veggie bowls. They're kid-friendly. They can have salmon cake sandwiches. You can also do a fun mac and cheese as a side item, and also serve salmon cakes with fruit and veggie plates.
Alrighty, Jam Fam, you won't believe it. Mama's making biscuits. That's right. We're going to go for 4 dozen gluten-free biscuits. I can get everything that we need in the commercial Hobart. Gluten-free biscuits first, then we're doing traditional biscuits. I need to also grab my tallow real quick because we're going to use our home rendered tallow in both recipes. So I have actually 2.5 bags of the King Author gluten-free measure for measure flour, gluten-free flour substitute. These bags are, let's see, it's 44 servings, 4 tablespoons each per serving. So each bag is about 11 cups. So I've got enough for 4 dozen biscuits and then some more for other upcoming projects. We're going to use that. We're going to use 8 teaspoons of baking powder. Then we've got 4 teaspoons of baking soda. That's from Azure. We're going to add about 4 to 5 teaspoons of salt. We'll end up using about 2 cups of our home rendered tallow. Also, we will be adding in 8 eggs. We're going to use 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar as well, and 4 cups of water, which I also had my water over here, so juggling all my ingredients as we do. So we are going to do, I will use my already open bag to start. We are going to do our dry ingredients first. You got to help me count. We're on 4. We're going to do 5, but there's something I want to say. Can I keep it all straight? I just said we're on 5. 6. I better not. I best play it straight. Remind me in a minute. There's something I want to tell you about these biscuits. Okay, you'll be proud. Just went back to recount my cups in this preview footage. I have 6 in there now. I went 4 and then I said 5 and I counted 6. It's good, it's good. 6 is in there. This is going to be 7. 7, okay. All right, so see, I cannot walk and chew gum or count cups of flour and tell you about the recipe at the same time. We are going to get our 7th cup in there now together. And no, I don't own scissors, right? The scissors are gone. No, they're not. You know why they're not gone? They're not gone now because I said they were. It's good, it's good. Okay. Whew. So many things are coming in to say, to tell you. Okay. 7. 8. 9. Getting a much later start per our usual because I had a family member who had dental work that turned into a whole thing. So that was the day. So where I thought I would be finishing this in the, lunchtime, early afternoon, we're now doing this in the evening, but that's okay. So we have in our 10 cups of gluten-free flour, baking powder. So 8 teaspoons, so that'll be 2 tablespoons and 2 teaspoons. And I know I need to be more exact with baking. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I went off to find my salt because I knew my salt had a teaspoon in it. And it was right in front of me because look at us. We had everything setting out. Okay, 8 teaspoons. And now 4 teaspoons of baking soda. Well, I've got the salt open, so I'm going to do 5 of the salt, but I'm jumping ahead. So next 3, 4. Next will be the baking soda. Okay. Yes. Yes, yes. Move my little phone that has my notes on there. And this new recipe will be over on largefamilytable.com. It'll also be linked down in the description below. If you need some gluten-free biscuits in your life, I'm hoping to also bake some of these for gluten-free sausage biscuits for gluten-free folks options. I did have to order some other sausage that was also gluten-free because sausage is a thing. Okay, so we're gonna, let me get everything raised up and just gonna let that go for a minute. Nice. Okay, so then we will add in our home rendered tallow. And then we're gonna add the eggs and the water and the ACV. And I'm gonna start. I've got another measuring cup just to start cutting my tallow into while we have a minute. Again, the things I wanted to tell you while I really needed to just focus on counting this flour. This homemade biscuit recipe that we are making from scratch is not only gluten-free, but it's also dairy-free and it's sugar-free. I believe each biscuit comes out to be about 22, 24 carbs per biscuit. So if carbs are also something that you just track or you're mindful of, there is that information. I'll be very glad to have some of these in the freezer whenever I'm carb loading for my big events, which 5Ks are not a big event, because I do have a Christmas 5K coming up this weekend. But anything over 90 minutes is a big event, and that's fun. And I don't think I have anything that will be over 90 minutes. I'm thinking of my January things. I've got 3 big group 5Ks in December. I have 2 trail running events in January. One I'm definitely doing. It's a 15K. So that one might count. And then thinking thoughts. The other one, if I do it, will also be a carb loading event. And then in January, there's a big winter trail running event, it's a 25K, so that one will definitely be carb loading. I've got my next full marathon, like a road marathon, end of March, and 5Ks and other fun adventures peppered throughout. So you asked me about running tonight, didn't you? Yes. Okay, so we got that done. Now I'm gonna get my tallow in here, trying to just kind of cut it around in clumps. Okay, hold on here. Okay, I'm gonna just start, and again, this is on low. I'm just gonna let it go a minute like that and get my second cup ready. And really, it should be colder than this, but I have a hard time getting my cold tallow out of these jars. So I had to kind of compromise. Otherwise, I'd be here tallow digging for
30 minutes potentially. And we are getting this done. But if you don't have tallow, you can use butter. You can, of course, use lard. You could use bacon grease. Wouldn't that be delicious? So lots of good fat options. See how you're doing there. There you go. So when I do carb load for my bigger endurance events, which again, the big ones might be once a month. Some will be twice a month. Big being half marathon equivalent or higher. A full marathon or ultra marathon, they're not every week. And so I want to continue to get some good whole foods, healthy carb options ready for me. That's how I have been fueling. I mean, carbs are still carbs, but I'm just trying to make sure there's nothing extra, no extra boogers in them. Okay, so eggs and apple cider vinegar, and then we will start with our water. So 'tis good. Working on not cracking my egg on the side of the bowl. Thank you, thank you. And actually I have this empty flour bag I'll put my shells in. And I have a very, very fun, special, magnificent, important Christmas project I am doing. Hopefully I am filming that tomorrow, which means it should be the video that follows this one. And we are going to be making 20 pantry boxes for local domestic violence survival mamas and their children. So it's 20 moms and there's a total of 50 children. And it's through one of my favorite organizations called Honor Project Movement. And you know, over the years, we have done a lot of different projects with Honor Project Movement. We helped add items that needed stocked to a whole trailer that they had fundraised for and provided for a family in North Carolina after the hurricane. We have also provided cozy socks and chocolates and blankets and household items for the moms that they are serving in different seasons, multiple times over many years. We've done other food things. I think last year we also did, we shopped for and made, I'm going to say it was 20 Thanksgiving bags. I'll try to link that video below, but it was a food project and it was meals ready to go for moms and their children. Off camera, just got a phone call, but don't worry, it was a scam. It was one of those scams that they should use a local number. So I was like, oh, I got a teenager at an activity this evening. I better answer it, right? And you answer it and it ain't nothing important. Okay, let me look back at my list. I'm looking at my recipe, how I have it up over on the blog. And I'm sorry I have to scroll. I'm going to get through it. Okay, so the tallow will help the biscuits be flaky, but also keep them dairy-free. And some of my dairy-free folks eventually probably need to experiment and do some dairy-free testing for their own bio-individual needs. But, you know, moms, there's only so much you can do. So I like to also offer things and say, by the way, that tastes delicious and it's dairy-free. So come over to the dark side, right? But I love dairy. I love my low-carb cheesecakes. I did do a recipe recently. I don't think I filmed it, but I did it for a holiday thing I was going to. It's a blueberry cobbler that's low-carb-ish. I mean, blueberries naturally have more carbs. But it was gluten-free and dairy-free and sugar-free. And also, by the way, adding 2 tablespoons of ACV right now. It also, hold on, thoughts are coming as I'm juggling this. Whatever I was saying, and I did a dairy-free vegan faux Cool Whip with it. And meaning you can still have some fun and be dairy-free, yeah, just
living is nice, right? Low inflammation is nice. And my inflammation, you know, this ongoing. So healing that layer, yes. So we've got also, side note, our salmon cakes coming up from the depths of our freezers because I need these sheet pans here to flash freeze biscuits on. And you know, you only need to flash freeze something for like 2 hours, and around here it might be 24, 48 hours. Choose your own adventure, or I guess I should say, may the odds be in your favor, salmon cakes. But these have froze perfectly. And then over here, I've been working on, and I just had a helper who came in. I was like, hey, get me some more parchment paper sheets while I go film the salmon cakes. So that's a good family team. But these will be for gluten-free biscuits first and other projects that we're going to continue to roll through, because tonight's our night to finish this big freezer cooking movie. We're doing it. So I've got the oven going. I'll probably only do half a dozen of the gluten-free biscuits. Well, but no, I wanted to do sandwiches with that. What am I saying? Oven's going, we're doing things. Here's how the dough looked out, and I do have a family member that's gonna help me and get the salmon cakes bagged up too. I wish I had to get the dough hook facing the right way, and then I can get my bowl off. But if I'm filming and talking about it, it doesn't always like to cooperate. We're doing it though. Remember, gluten-free dough has a different consistency than traditional dough. I got that turned off. Okay. There we go. Okay, and I'm gonna get some gluten-free flour to sprinkle on the counter. And we will find biscuit cutters. Looks good enough to me. Okay, I forgot. Originally, last night I was thinking, oh yes, we'll also do 4 dozen gluten-free biscuits. And then today, we only had 3 patties left of the Walmart blue bag pre-cooked sausage patties that I was going to put on the traditional homemade biscuits. I had ordered like 60 of those, but that was a week ago, and they've been in the fridge, so they're fair game. So I ordered more of those, but they're not gluten-free, and I found some gluten-free ones that I need to also bake. But then today I was thinking, okay, since I'm doing this, I can bake some gluten-free ones too, and have some gluten-free breakfast sandwiches ready to go, multi-layers, right? Multi-nutritional need household. Doing it. I'm just trying to pat it out and not mess with it too much. Okay, gluten-free biscuits, do your thing. Pretty good. The dough cutter just gives us a goal to aim for. Now this is a pretty big size biscuit cutter. So I may have needed to use a size or 2 down to truly get 4 dozen from this. But we won't be mad if they're mega size, right? So we know that's how things roll.
Okay, we will get these in the oven. Okay, so we are going to put these in 425 for about 14 to 18 minutes. I'm going to set my timer for probably 10 minutes and just check them. Did I email Z-Line back today? No. Did I conquer a dental appointment? Yes. Nope. This baking sheet may be too big for this. Yep. Okay, hold on. Okay. But speaking of Z-Line, can't wait to get that email written. They need a picture. They need a picture of the inside of this oven. They need some numbers. Ugh, okay, I'm going to turn this off. It's like blowing heat on me. Give me a minute. It's all going to be great. It's all okay. I'm just going to encourage these baking pans. You stay in there. Okay. Things are not going my way. Hold on. The horrors persist, yes, so do we, right? Okay, now we'll try it. Okay, here we go. Just hopeful I could kind of scooch them down a little bit. It's all great. It's all great. I mean, these ovens are electric, not gas. That's why I think it's the heating element, self-diagnosing that side. But anyway, I'll talk to you about it again in this video. And see, I haven't been able to get a lot of walking. Got no runs in this week. It's been a week of other life things. So maybe coming up, maybe tomorrow on a walk, I'll get that done. But anyway, there we go. Okay, I'm going to set the timer now, 10 minutes.
So focusing on some gluten-free biscuit options for my gluten-free people. My plan is to make about 4 dozen technically come in. Again, I'm the problem, it's me. It's my, and I can almost sing it, right? It's my biscuit size cutting, okay, but we come in about 31 homemade from scratch gluten-free biscuits. These gluten-free biscuits are tender, they are hearty, they're made entirely from simple ingredients already from my pantry. This big batch produces a whole lot of biscuits that are gluten-free. We also make them dairy-free and they're sugar-free. So they're perfect for busy mornings, for freezer breakfast, to go along with soups and stews and other holiday cooking. Now, while these biscuits are not low carb, they're coming in approximately 20 to 24 carbs per biscuit. Depends on, choose your own adventure. They fit beautifully for higher carb fueling days and meals. I know for me, when I have my longer distance running days or anytime I still need gluten-free, but I am doing, based on where my hormones are, my higher carb days, these are perfect and I'm glad to get them in the freezer. So in this batch, we are using home rendered tallow, which also keeps them dairy free. You can, of course, use butter or another cooking fat. It all gets down to what I have on hand and what you have on hand as well. So we are using 10 cups of our gluten-free flour. I'm using King Author Measure for Measure. There's other similar gluten-free flours available. We're doing 8 teaspoons of baking powder, 4 teaspoons of baking soda, and 4 to 5 teaspoons of salt. I'm also using about 2 cups of home rendered tallow in the batches. And for our wet ingredients, we are using 8 eggs, about 4 cups of water, and also 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. The apple cider vinegar, it helps soften the gluten-free flour, it improves the rise, and it helps replace, say, if you were using traditional buttermilk in the recipe too. And for these biscuits, we bake them for about 14 to 18 minutes at 425. And with shaping the biscuits, I just turn the dough out on a gluten-free floured surface. I haven't done my traditional biscuits first. Of course, I don't have a true celiac level gluten-free kitchen, but I do the best I can with keeping things clean and using gluten-free ingredients. So I pat the dough and I get them flattened out the best I can, and I cut the biscuits using my biscuit cutter. You can also use a wide mouth mason jar lid, and then these can be baked in advance, or they can be flash frozen and then taken out and baked on another day. I did decide to use all of these, to bake them all the way through, and to combine them with sausage patties that are also gluten-free. Now I will say you have to watch, you gotta watch everything, right? So there are great value sausage patties that I will use on my homemade from scratch traditional biscuits, and those are not necessarily gluten-free. They do not say that they're gluten-free on the bag. So I did have to get some sausage patties and cook those through that were also said to be gluten-free. And if dairy is your thing, you can also add cheese, add eggs, add other ingredients. For serving ideas, you can have a gluten-free biscuit and eggs, a biscuit and turkey sausage, also some honey or some fruit for higher carb needs. Also, like we're doing here, making our gluten-free breakfast sandwiches that are also freezer friendly. These are a delicious option to go along as a side item with chicken soup or chili or vegetable soups. Great with roast beef and all kinds of biscuit sandwiches.
Alrighty, so got our second dozen of gluten-free biscuits in the oven. Nice. And then I've got a little more than half a dozen. I got 7 more after that. So not coming in with the exact 4 dozen. It's okay. We'll blame me. I mean, that's always the easiest, right? Biscuit cutting capabilities, but I'm going to just bake them all through now, and we're going to do them all. Plot twist, going to do them all as gluten-free breakfast sandwiches for the freezer. These, this brand of sausage says no fillers, gluten-free. It's got some ingredients I can't say on there, but overall, okay. So I have to cook through these first though, and I've done them on the sheet pan several times. Why am I staring at them? I know they're raw. Cooking directions 10 to 13 minutes, and that's on the stove top. So I'm just gonna throw them this current load that I didn't have a timer set for. And the 14 minutes was pretty good on those. It's coming back to me. Current load, I'm gonna stick a pan of sausages at the bottom of the dozen that's in there, and the half dozen that will be in there if I need to get them on 2 separate sheet pans. It says 30. But they had some more expensive gluten-free chicken maple sausages, but those also had sugar in them. Do these? These do too. Now I'm like, what? But it says 0 carbs and it says 0 added sugars. So, I mean, you know, me psychoanalyzing labels, it gets to be a lot. But I felt like for what it was, these were the better deal, because I believe that pack was more and you only got like 11 sausages. And so this one had a little less in it and you got 30. And you know, that's the kind of math a mom trying to grasp all the things and do all the things and check most of the boxes can understand. Kind of same money, more sausages. The other one had 4 carbs and 2 grams of added sugar for every sausage. So that's how I came to this complicated decision on my Walmart delivery app that I'm so thankful for. Could not have come at a better time in my life, right? So we will do these 2 pans, and we will at least have, well, we will have 30 plus 1 gluten-free, dairy-free. You don't got dairy in you, do you? Okay, yeah, dairy-free sausage biscuits. Yay, did stuff. I'm gonna get this pan. Can I fit any more on here? Can I do maybe just 2, maybe 3, just to get my biscuit making party started. And these I'm just totally eyeballing and we're focusing on the biscuits. So here's our first 2 dozen of the gluten-free biscuits. They, of course, I taste tested, pulled a little bit off of that one, but pretty good for minimal ingredients and being gluten-free and dairy-free and sugar-free and checking those boxes. We appreciate that. I have 1 pan of sausage also that needs to come out, and our other pan that can go in. And these sausage patties are smaller, so maybe I'll be getting 2 on each freezer biscuit sandwich. There's the little mini sausages. Alrighty, look at us. Another day, another evening. And hey, I got on Mary Jane, so priorities, right? Nice little kitchen cooking Mary Jane time. So, we have these gluten-free biscuits. We have the sausages we prepped last night. I'm going to just do a simple, gluten-free, dairy-free, free of all the things, breakfast sandwich with these. And these sausages are smaller, so I'm going to put 2 sausage patties on each biscuit, and I'm just gonna do it over this sheet pan full of biscuits. I believe we got 31 last night, and everything was just really hot to then get it in plastic bags and go from there. So I thought, biscuits, you can just wait till I get to you today, and look at us, we're getting to it today. So it is going to be as simple as that. Real classy and high-end here, just going in a plastic baggie, because these won't be in the freezer for like 3 months or anything. These will be more individual portions. I have 1 to 4, and I'm thinking my toddler would probably also eat one of these as well, although the traditional biscuits will also be competing. The traditional ones, I mean, 10 dozen, 12 dozen, however many dozen we are going to conquer here with those, it's not gonna take long. Not gonna take long at all for those to be gone through. These, again, are great for my, oh, look at that bag. That has a story to tell. For my gluten-free specific folks, also me being gluten-free and dairy-free. When I have my carb loading before a big event, like I shared with you, that might be once or twice a month. I do not carb load every time I run, but for big stuff, over 90 minutes, let's talk about it again. I try to have good whole food carbs to give my muscles those energies that they need, and I really experienced that for the first time on a performance level when I did my 3rd half marathon here. When was that? Early-ish November, mid-November in Richmond. And I am signed up for the full marathon in Richmond next fall as well. So I'm excited to have things like these biscuits in my life. And so what I'm gonna do is I will still, just for convenience, I will put several of those into the gallon freezer bag, but I don't think that, like with the traditional biscuits, I don't think we will bring up a whole freezer gallon bag and then defrost that many at one time. I think it's just gonna be more, if someone wants the gluten-free, dairy-free biscuits, they can reach into that bag and take 1 or 2 out as needed for more individual portions. Stay on there, stay on there. You can do it, Biscuit. You can do it. Got too much air in that bag.
And now, massive, large family style homemade biscuits, 10 dozen, 20 dozen. Where will we go? Well, I do 5 batches and I make enough dough to do 20 dozen biscuits. But because of my biscuit size, which was a choice I make, I end up with about 16 dozen biscuits. So fantastic, fantastic. We're using up flour I already had up on hand. We used several quarts of home rendered tallow. My people roll through my homemade biscuits. It's like a proud mama thing. They love them so much. So much. So much. I can tell you from the future, they are rolling through the homemade biscuit sausage sandwiches that I prepped. Now, in the past, we have made homemade breakfast sandwiches doing a variety of additional toppings. You can still add cheese to them, cheese slices, the day that you reheat them. You can also bake these and you can also microwave them. Also, I have used my sheet pans to do sheet pan egg scrambles and sheet pan omelets and cut those in squares or circles to place on these sandwiches. You can also so many ways you can use these biscuits. You can bake them in advance and freeze them baked, or you can flash freeze them. And then again, flash freezing doesn't have to take that long, but my stuff always ends up sitting a day or two in my freezer. Then I pull them out. Then we bag them. And then as we need them, we will pull out the frozen biscuits. And I have even baked them from frozen with no problem. My goal here is to bake through several dozen and get as many sausage patties on those biscuits as I can, because that just makes it so helpful for my household. I see teenagers and kids of all shapes and sizes do a great many things, okay? And I have seen a 6'3" teenage boy walk by me with a plate of 3 sausage biscuits. It's a whole thing. Also, everybody in my house loves my sausage gravy. And I also big batch and make that in advance, and we'll get that in the freezer. It does not mean by any means that we always have dozens and dozens of biscuits and gallon bags of sausage gravy ready to go. But when we have it, we use it, and I'm always so thankful that we have it. I am hopeful to stay on top of the biscuits, because this 5 big batch resulting in 16 dozen biscuits, it was about an hour of running the mixer. And of course, I'm filming and dealing with life and stuff and things. But an hour to roll through all that dough. And then I could not get back to the dough immediately after that. I had to go out for some appointments for a few hours. And then later, I'm able to come back and roll through cutting the biscuits, flash freezing what we can, and of course, rolling into making our big batch breakfast sandwiches. We end up also serving biscuits and gravy at our Candy Christmas Pop-tart house party that we host. And that was a fantastic, fantastic meal to serve. We had some other families bring other items to go together. And also, one of my neighbor friends, they were not able to come up that night, but I had one of my teens take down to their house when they were available. We sent down some baked biscuits, some sausage gravy, and we also sent down a jar of my homemade cherry jam. So it makes it easy to share too, which is so nice. So these homemade scratch-made biscuits are perfect for stocking the freezer, for feeding a crowd, for prepping for school year breakfast. Prepping for summer breakfast, everything. Creating easy grab-and-go options. Again, like these freezer sausage biscuit sandwiches that we're doing. We're using my home-rendered tallow for the fat. These makes these delicious biscuits rich and flaky and naturally dairy-free. You can also substitute for butter. You can use lard. You can use shortening. You can use coconut oil, just depending on what your family needs are. The tallow gives it a nice sturdy texture and old-fashioned flavor. and it just makes them perfect for freezing and reheating. I have frozen and reheated biscuits so many different ways, but I just love using up what we have on hand.
Well, good evening. Mama had her hair color done. Priorities. You see what happened is it's December, right? Christmas is a-coming, and hairdressers, it's a really busy time of year. And my hairdresser is handling her business like all the other good hairdressers out there. She got me in, and it was this evening. Priorities. And I had another appointment out. And like we know, Christmas is a-coming. And because of that, so real quick, we got the 20 dozen biscuit dough. Looking here at me. I had my teen guys put some plastic wrap on the top, get that in the fridge. So that is gonna wait. We are gonna get the icing done, and then my guys are gonna make 20 Pop-tart houses for our candy Christmas house party that we are hosting tomorrow night. We've done this for so many years, so many ways. If you've seen it before, you know I've done it with graham crackers. You know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago we upgraded to Pop-tarts, really the great value Pop-tarts, because I'm still forever like the mom looking to save 10 cents. So I'm gonna make the icing, they're gonna make the houses, make them the night before so they set up nice and good. And the way I do my royal icing dries super hard like cement, and that's what we need. And then it looks like snow on the houses. So, bonus recipe, let's get this going so they can get going on those houses. We'll cut the biscuits, also get the biscuits going for breakfast sandwiches and doing all the things. Okay, and so Let me get out I've got a tablespoon over here. I do. So we are using, so this is a double batch of what's on my blog. It's 24 cups of powdered sugar, which is 3 of these bags. 18 egg whites, which is about 3.5 cups of this. And then a tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of our cream of tartar. And I thought I had a bigger measuring cup, but this will have to do for the egg whites. And I'm gonna mix it with my hand mixer because we know my dough hook is stuck. And I do have someone that's gonna help look at that for me soon, so that is nice. But anyway, this will be too big for the KitchenAid, and we will whip it up using the hand mixer. So wanted to get this going so that my assembly line folks can work on their job. I know I'm not, like, my head's cut off in this shot, but sorry. Just trying to show you the powdered sugar action and talk when I can, because it's later. Everything's quiet because video games and TV and things are happening. A lot of times when I film during the day, there's computer school and life and Legos and other adventures happening in here. I can't always talk to you while I'm filming during the day. Okay, 3rd bag. And also with this, we have many times just added food coloring to it. But I plan to go to Sharp Shopper tomorrow during the day for a special service project I've been wanting the Jam Fam to do. And I was planning on getting more icing and like marked down candy and stuff. Of course, other families are gonna bring some candy and icing. Okay, so that was 3 bags. Let's see. I don't use cream of tartar a lot. I think I've had this maybe for 5 years now. Maybe 10, I don't know. I use it in this recipe. Maybe a few little random things I use it for. I can't think of what that is right now. But we got some. Do I have a teaspoon or am I eyeballing a teaspoon? I have half a tablespoon. There's a tea. You look like a teaspoon. Thank you for showing up to this party. Okay, nice. And again, I was 3.5 cups. So this recipe that will also be linked down below. I have doubled, I mean, it's already a big batch because it's me, of course, but it's usually 9 egg whites and 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar and then 12 cups of powdered sugar. Okay, so mixer. My green KitchenAid mixer is still with us. Have I taken in or done anything about my immersion blender? Nope. Immersion. Well, yeah, it was a stick blender that gave up the ghost of my mashed potatoes. No, not at all. That's okay. As I say, I'm the problem, it's me. So anyway, now we're just gonna get to mixing. You know what teen boys love to do at almost 8:30 at night is make 20 Pop-tart houses for their mom's Christmas party, but the Christmas party is for kids, so they'll make houses too. They'll get in on the action. Well, they're making the houses and they will decorate. They will decorate houses. I think for both of them, we've pretty much done this their whole lives. Yeah, good. Nice. That means I've actually been doing these longer than 10 years. Farmhouse. Instagram, but that was, I think I've been on Instagram since dinosaurs roamed the earth. It's like 2013. So, you know, the matrix, the vortex, but you've been with me. So there's the royal icing. I'm going to let them choose their utensils. And so the little assembly line is, and whenever they counted earlier, they think these will be enough for 20, and one of them was already like laying out the pattern and everything. I just turned that over for a picture, but we've got some cookies and cream and frosted fudge and cherry, and it looks like they replaced it with some actual Pop-tart brand. And those I think will be extra. I mean, obviously, if we end up not needing them when they did the math for them, I just said, save these for Christmas. I don't think anyone here has had Pop-Tarts since this time last year when we did these, because you get all these little like square do I know my shapes? You get these triangle pieces, and then that's like, wow, something amazing. So anyway, I just figured, I don't know, at some point, holidays, hey, folks, there's some Pop-Tarts. Originally, I think, well, let's see here. Doing math. I thought we would have, well, last year we had 20 to 25 kids. I thought those numbers would be the same. I had to change the dates because life and stuff and things. And now I think there's 2 to 3 families that can't come, but we still are going to have about 20, 22 people here, 15 to 16-ish kids. So anyway, I told them to go ahead and make 20 houses. One of the families that can't come, one of my kids is gonna take over if we have any extra houses and do some extra houses with their kids. Anyway, lots of, tis the season. Also, kitchen Christmas tree up and ready. And my mom ordered some little gingerbread men that are gonna go on it here soon, and that'll be fun.
So in each batch in the Hobart, we used 12 cups of flour. We used 8 tablespoons of baking powder. We did 4 teaspoons of salt. We used 2 cups of fat, which was our tallow, and we also used 6 cups of milk. That recipe should yield about 4 dozen biscuits. And again, this would have been enough dough to do about 20 dozen biscuits, but the way that I cut them, I was being sensible. We ended up with about 16 dozen. They baked up nice and tall and delicious, and we had several that night and into the next day, and I still had plenty to make our homemade sausage sandwiches with too.
Alrighty, here's 2 dozen. We're gonna go ahead and get in the oven, get our other pan going. They only take about 10 minutes, and that's at 450. And actually, these are getting ready to
have their alarm go off, and these are just sitting here liking it. I did rub some tallow, that's what it is, on the top of them. Okay, so here's another 2 dozen, and it seems to take almost the length of a round of biscuits in there to get our next batch cut and over here, so that's a pretty good workflow. Now we're just going to brush these with some tallow. So here's the 20 Pop-tart houses. These are going to dry overnight, and then tomorrow I'll have them put a layer of plastic wrap over them. Those sat in there a minute too long. So I forgot to set my timer for these, and I kind of guessed at it, and you know, that's what happens when I guess, but they're nice and tall. So this is our 5th batch of 2 dozen. Should make us about 120 here. 60 of these we're gonna make into breakfast sausage sandwiches. The other 60 are gonna be hot and ready biscuits. I already have some people getting some late evening samples, which is what they're here for. And I was also thinking, I was like, oh yeah, we're hosting a Christmas party tomorrow night, and it's also like a potluck. We could have biscuits and gravy. I was gonna look to pick up something at Sharp Shopper tomorrow, which I probably will too. But I was gonna do their candy deals and things, and I think we will just, if I can get gravy made tomorrow afternoon in between the Sharp Shopper, the service project, and the party, that's what we'll do. One pan that I pulled out that looked great on the top, I had a young adult cut into it, and it was a little doughy, so they checked the pans for me, so I put that pan back in. I got the timer set for 2 minutes. And we've had the doughy, inner doughy biscuit patrol, which is great. And we will see, so we've done 10 dozen so far. And this will be 12 dozen, which was my original goal. I do not think I'm getting 20 dozen, though. Maybe it's just because I'm rolling it thicker. I didn't use my biggest dough cutter. This is the 2 3/4 inch. This is my sensible one. I think my largest one is a 3 inch. I was sensible. I'm thinking right now, well, probably 14 is what I think we're gonna come out with. So that is good, that is fine. My goal set out
when I originally wrote this list was to do 120, to do 10 dozen. And we've done that over there. We've surpassed that goal. So I am proud of us. Just had my newly minted 11-year-old come through with his plate. He approved. So I am winning some awards around here. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 24. Okay, so nice. So actually, this is my first pan to flash freeze. Okay, so I'm gonna start lining up my flash freezing pans. Let's see, knit here. Tallow is here. It's down here. Alrighty, so these are almost 6 dozen that are going in the freezers to freeze overnight, and then we'll get them into freezer bags tomorrow. And I almost can't put words together anymore, so these are getting wrapped up and going in the downstairs refrigerator. We will make these into breakfast sandwiches in the morning. Someone else's biscuit plate. Okay, well, we did not get 244, but we didn't get 120 either. We came in with 192. We got 16 dozen, better than 0 dozen, right? So I got water running, filling my Hobart mixing bowl from earlier. And then I'm gonna wash that out, but then dump that soapy water into the 30-quart mixing bowl. I will have my dishwasher person this evening hand wash that, because again, it's 10:05, so it's like 1 a.m. for me. Alrighty, would you believe it? We are victorious. So this is how my guys wrapped the biscuits up for us last night, because by the time we get to 9:30, like my, as I like to joke, my elementary school bedtime, you know, 8:30 is my bedtime that I like. By the time I think I'm being wild and I'm staying up to 9:30, things are really melting and going sideways. So I could not handle at 9:30 cutting these biscuits, putting a sausage patty on them, and even simply getting them into the baggie. You know, that whole workflow might have taken 30 to 45 minutes, whatever. I went to bed, okay? We're listening to The Wild Robot for like the 3rd time. My little guys love it though, highly recommend. We are also hosting our candy Christmas house decorating party tonight, or Christmas candy house decorating party. That is happening. So we're gonna finish these breakfast freezer sandwiches. Oh my goodness, this project has just been so deep and so wide. And we also have
these flash frozen biscuits, and I had my guys get these into gallon bags for us. But for the party, I'm also doing homemade biscuits and gravy. I have some more fruit that I brought. Other families will bring other things, but I've let them know I'm doing biscuits and gravy. So anyway, let's get some more things done.
And Jam Fam, I just want to share this in case it's helpful for you. If big batch cooking and freezer meals make life feel a little more supported, especially when you're feeding a lot of people, my Very Merry Jam Fam Christmas bundle was created with that exact goal in mind. It's a 4-guide bundle of make-ahead meals, freezer cookies, I mean, great for Christmas or every day, right? And breakfast, it works beautiful for the holidays, hosting, and just for all the busy seasons of life. And right now, for a limited time, this includes my Very Merry Jam Fam Christmas course. That's a free special bonus for a limited time when you purchase the bundle, where I cook alongside you, share so many fun bonus videos and tips for managing big meals and big gatherings with less stress. Everything is linked in the description below if you'd like to learn more. Thank you so much for being here with me and for cooking along in whatever season you're in.
Well, alrighty. We did about 105 sausage biscuits. I know it because there's 20 sausages in a pack, and we've gone through 5 packs, and then this one we got about 5 out of. And we have about 9 of these gallon freezer bags. Now I did just make it super easy on myself, which is my favorite trick. And I just used sandwich bags for these sausage biscuits. For my large household of 10, I don't know if, I'm trying to give you how many weeks will these last. Will these be 4 weeks? Will these be 8 weeks? I think we'll have some around in 2 weeks. Somewhere between 4 to 12. I don't know. I just live here and feed people here. And we go through homemade biscuits super quick, which is why we did 16 dozen at least this go round. We are also winning in some things because I wanted to make 60 sausage biscuits and we made 105 sausage biscuits for the freezer. Yay.